Fathers, ladies, gentlemen, friends and comrades, on behalf of the relatives and friends of the active service unit and all those who have travelled long distance, you're all welcome. Your MC for the day is Joe Welch, Chairman of the Kilmoyley Hurling Club. The relatives and friends in association with Kilmoyley Hurling Club has made this commemoration possible. My own name is Sean McGrath. I now hand over to Joe Welch.
Yeah, so we're all very welcome here today, especially those people who travelled long distances, and especially the members of as Sean has already stated, as the centenary of Mike Nolan's passing was coming to in 2020, the hurling club set up a committee to commemorate Mike Nolan. That committee, a subcommittee, was chaired by Mike Flaherty, and secretary was Sean McGrath, and they've done tremendous work. Other members of the committee were James Savage, John Martin Brick, Mike Lynch, Gerard O'Sullivan, Par Reardon, and unfortunately we have lost two members of that committee, Pat Griffin, Larrig, and Michael Curran, also deceased recently. So we remember them today, and when the committee got going, of course it got going with great gusto. They took great interest in the particular project, and lo and behold, of course, that was the COVID came into play and put back our plans for not only once but twice, I'd say, in the intervening time. But anyway, thanks be to God, we're here today. Just a few snippets about this area here. Screw Cross, or Kilmoyley Cross, very popular place one time. Before the advent of the motor car, or this was a meeting place. This was a hive of activity around here. People meeting up. Actually, a parish league one time was won by Screw Cross in hurling in 1941, the only parish league that we know of. So hurling was always part of Screw Cross and around here. The Tracys lived there, county championship winners. Dennis, our president, is here with us today. We're delighted to have him. Dennis won in 1970. Michael, of course, also. Back along the road, championship medals. Back as far as the late Mike Nolan's farm, where Mike Nolan was born and reared. He was an integral part of the Nolans of the GA in Kilmoyley. A former secretary, of course. His father, Charles, had won a medal in 1890. His father, Charles, won a county championship medal with Kilmoyley. And Kilmoyley Hurling Club practiced on his fields, on his farm, way before the foundation of the GA in 1884. They would have practiced before Mass. They would have gone on to Carrick in the evening and played the boys from Carrahan and Banna. Down the road here, where you see a house being built now by Olive Brake and Cullum, 6 county championship winning teams were trained below there in that field, the sports field. Trained, of course, by the man across the road, Mickey McGrath. So this is Kilmoyley, back to the church. This is where we were. I suppose we'll never going to school. This is where we were. There was a shop here by Mrs. Tracy. There was actually a cinema here, going back through the years. Before the cinema was in Tralee. One such film production was shown here was Come On George, a 1939 production, as told to me by John Sheehy, and the cinema was packed that night, and that was just one. I'm sure there are more, and people could remember. Anyway, lads, that's about the area here in Screw Cross. I want to call on Father Looney, who will bless this cross, of course. designed and produced by James Savage, and we're indebted to James for putting up such a production, an image here. Dr. Tim Horgan, historian and author, and special guest. Dr. Tim, I'll ask you now to address the people.
Thank you so much for gathering here today. If this commemoration was held maybe 10 years ago, we might have had one or two people here because so little was known about Mike Nolan at the time. The freedom that we have today has not been given to us. It is a freedom that has been taken. Freedom is never for free. Somebody has paid the price. And in this neighbourhood here, it was Mike Nolan of Kilmoyley that paid the price for the freedom that you and I today have. Mike Nolan, like all great men, was part of the memory of this parish. But memory is a fickle thing. When memory is confined to the human mind, it decays. Generations pass, memories fade, and so people like Mike Nolan would have been forgotten, but for the few that remembered him, but for his family. We all commit our memories to paper, books are written, and the problem with books is that few will read them and they gather dust in shelves. So it is all the more important that our memories would be consigned to stone, the stone that stands here today, a memorial stone that all who pass will know that brave men fought here, that brave men died here, that brave men paid for our freedom. It is indeed fitting that we gather here today as a community, not under flags, not under political banners, because Mike Nolan and those brave men who stood by his side gathered as part of their community to free their people so that Ireland might be ruled by the laws of its people and not by the laws of a foreign king. Speaking as somebody from Tralee, when we speak of Kilmoyley, it's speaking really of its hurling club, which indeed is the soul of the community here. And by your presence here today and by the enthusiasm shown by Kilmoyley, Common Lucas Gael, it has indeed borne fruit that the memory of probably its most prominent member will not be forgotten. There is a tendency today for historical commemorations to take place in television or in academic halls, but these are far from the people for whom our patriots died. And so it is fitting that we gather here today, that we gather in all weathers, umbrellas up, and we gather to commemorate that man that gave his life for our freedom and those other men that stood by his side. They came and made a stand, not for fame, not for profit, not for renown, not to be remembered, but it is our duty to remember them. It is the little price that we can pay, that they would not be forgotten, that their cause would not be forgotten. And so the future generations, as they pass this roadway, as they pass this crossroads, will know that brave men stood here, and brave men will not be forgotten because it is they who have paid the price for our liberty. I would like to pay tribute to those men down and women and families down through the generations that kept the memory of Mike Nolan alive by whispering maybe on bar stools or by firesides. The deeds of these brave men were not forgotten. Of particular, I would like to pay tribute to the late Sean Joseph O'Connor, John O'Connor of this parish, who kept the memory of Mike Nolan alive. And when I was looking for information several years ago, he freely parted with it and was proud to do so because he was part of Kilmoyley heritage, a heritage that is yours to keep, yours to define, and yours to pass on, so that future generations will know the spirit of Mike Nolan, will know the spirit of Kilmoyley GA Club, will know the spirit of Ireland. Gurmahagwiv Galair.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tay. Now, as you know, the Amber site, ladies and gentlemen, and Father Looney, we know the Amber site was down the road a small bit further. This site became available, thank you to the Savage family, when this site was acquired not too long ago. previously owned by the O'Haras, and previous to that with the McCarthy family. James McCarthy, our man here, as people came from this cross around here. James is a former classmate of mine. So all these people, and they're here today, and we welcome them especially. We now call on the lads to unveil the cross.
Lovely, thank you, that's lovely. Thanks very much. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Sean. Now, Father, to us. You know that a lot of work went into this to make this day possible, Tom, and we got a lot of help from members outside the committee itself. And we got a lovely stone wall there from erected by Paddy Joe. And you know the word that you love this word, the mehel, came into effect, and everyone wrote in. So.
We drink the memory of the brave, the faithful and the few. Some lie far off beyond the waves, some sleep in Ireland too. All are gone, but some live on, and still live on the fame of those who died. But true folk, like you folk, remember them with pride. I share this poem for the day about our patriot dead, because I hail and salute all of you here in Kilmoyley who planned and created this beautiful memorial to the memory of the fallen brave. Mike Nolan and his daring companions in the War of Independence, and of course he later rested here, or he passed away at this site. In 1986, I was blessed and privileged to meet one of his colleagues that day, James Cook, from here of course, whose wife was Christian McGrath's sister of Ardrahan, and they are buried across the waves, far away in Sacramento in California, beyond the Rocky Mountains high. So we remember them as well, dear friends, today. The Lord be with you. Our help is in the Lord who made heaven and earth. Guimish, loving Father, your will is that we should all be of one mind in our homeland and one heart too. Great God of peace, bless Ireland and those countries where there is conflict today, where familiar roads and streets become battlefields, familiar people become casualties, as Mike Nolan was. Volunteer Michael Nolan of Kilmoyley will long be remembered as people pass this cross and look at this monument. So today we remember a patriot brave, an officer of Kilmoyley, Cumann Lucas Gael of Kilmoyley, famed hurling club, and with all his companions. So today we ask God's blessing on this lach Kivnachain, Ra Ola Elevrida Gavialtana, Ra Bialta Galunasa, Ra Lunasa Sound, Son La Elevrida, Laba Mas Lechra, as Nev Nehern, Grebaka, to hear, and Colonel Banach and remembering Mike Nolan and his companions as we bless this monument in a Menaher, Ags and Vic, Ags Spirit Nev. Amen.
Brendan Dunn from Ballyhaig wants to say a few words on behalf of the family from the Ballyhaig side.
Hello lads, just on behalf of the relations in relation to Mike Nolan, Dennis who's the closest relative as such. Dennis came to me about 2.5 years ago to enlighten me in relation to the story of Mike Nolan, which I didn't know. He enlightened me in relation to the McCormack family, who were, I suppose, Mike's mother was a McCormack from Ballyhaig. I suppose if I knew I had so much relations in Kilmoyley in the playing field days and things when we were playing, and things might have been a lot easier, I guess, the likes of the Welches and the Sullivans and those lads. But just on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank the organising committee for sort of organising this commemoration to Mike. Kilmoyley GA, Cumann Lucas Gael, Kerry, August, and all who were involved, the Savages for donating the site here or whatever, and just look like it's something that I suppose historically we tend to lose contact with our relatives or whatever. Only for Dennis, I wouldn't know this connection or whatever. But look, just on behalf of the family, thank you all very much, and thank to everyone for turning up to this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Lovely job, Brendan. Thank you very much. At your final, Jim Savage, would Jim say a few words?
Good afternoon, Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, and comrades. I say it's great to have this moment here in Screwcross. We've had so much about Screwcross long ago, but this thing that happened down the road in 1920, and people didn't recognise it for a long time. No one ever said anything about it. It kept under the cloth, as we say. But this morning we were able to open this memorial here for Mike Nolan and his comrades. I have a list of the active service units that were involved here, so I'll read them out. Captain Pat Young, Lieutenant Griffin, Lieutenant Michael Nolan, who was killed, Morris Nolan, Tom Nolan, Lieutenant Michael McGrath, James McGrath, Lieutenant Patrick McGrath, Pete McGrath, my grandfather Jim Savage, James Cook, Pat Kwan, and Dan Regan. They were the men that were caught up in this thing. So it's a great pleasure this morning to be able to open this here and think of them men. They put their lives that morning on the line for us. And you know, I look back at it as a young boy going to school. I had so much about this, and we often think about what happened down in Youngstown. What we were told about it. But I say this morning, it gives me a great pleasure, part of our family at home, to be able to open this corner. Previously, the Harris owned it, the Captives was involved in it, and it's the Kilmoyley corner now, it is our corner for Mike Nolan. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Oh yeah. Don has something there for us.
Just one thing he has left to do. It is the weapon that was used on that fateful day. It is a Colt Lightning 6-chamber revolver. And I would like to thank the musician for the music, and I'd like to thank you all for coming here today. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap it up. We want to move to the club rooms because we have a nice pact to unveil in the club rooms for our former secretary, Mike Nolan. So thank you very much, and we'll go as speedily as we can to the club rooms. Thank you.